Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bridges of Belief. Have you ever felt conflicted? Whoa, okay, all right. That wasn't part of my intro, but all right, let's add that in. Have you ever felt conflicted about listening to a certain song as a Christian? You know the deal. The beat is infectious, the vibes are on point, but those lyrics, to the window, to the wall, to the sweat dropping down. Yeah, I don't even finish the rest. You know where it's going. Not exactly beneficial to your walk with the Lord. Or perhaps you are going to watch the new Tarantino movie full of blood and violence and more F words than there are stars in the sky. And then someone at church tells you probably shouldn't watch that. In moments like these, do you stop and ask yourself, how should Christians actually engage with art? Do you ask yourself, what's safe for me to watch? What can I listen to or read? Or do I just throw it all out? Do I just become an Amish person? Or a closed brethren? No offense to any closed brethren who are wrestling.
Consider it, yeah.
This is a great
topic. This is what I'm passionate about.
Yep.
So today, ladies and gentlemen, joined by Kevin and Jess, my lovely co-hosts, we'll be diving into this very topic. I'll be sharing some personal experiences, some art I've been touched by. And we will also talk about some of the more spicier questions, which I won't actually say now because there's the one I want to start off with. So whether you're a movie buff, a music lover, or you're just curious about how faith and culture intersect, this episode is for you. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Good intro,
Now,
Poya. Let's do it. I'm excited for this topic. I think it's very relevant. I'm excited for it.
I am too, although I hate Tarantino films.
Why do you hate Tarantino?
I hate
Can I
you
tell
now.
you what? Once upon a time in Hollywood was so boring.
Okay, we can talk about that.
I am clearly not
yes.
like I used to be a film student.
Yeah.
And it was my job to watch arty films all the time, but that was boring.
No, but it's probably because of the commentary, and he's going to explain now. He's got a whole
Okay.
reason for
I'll
it.
explain it later, but
Probably- I don't
do you
get
know
them.
about the whole Manson family situation and
No, I
Sharon
don't.
Tate? Okay, we'll talk maybe towards the end of the pod we can do a little
But
bit.
but
Okay.
is your opinion like for example, many times I'll go to Poya and I'll be like, oh, I hate this film. It's dumb. Oh, it was boring. Like, for example, Oppenheimer. I thought it was a dumb movie. I was waiting for the actual bomb to drop. I was like, it's Christopher Nolan. I want to see an actual bomb drop. And it's about his life. I don't care about Oppenheimer. Anyway. And maybe it's a shallow view. But then Poya's like, nah, you got to understand the backing. Nah, you got to understand the story. Then you'll understand the context. Then you'll like it. But, like, what's your thoughts? Do you feel like movies you have to understand the context? Shouldn't movies just be good as they are?
Am I not entertained? I was not entertained.
Yeah.
Well, I just really was trying to get it. Like, I love Margot Robbie. I love Brad Pitt. I love, what's the other guy? Leo was in there as well.
Bradley Pitt.
Yeah, well, just like,
No,
it was so boring.
but my view is like, Poya's like, no, you got to understand the context.
Well, it depends. It depends on the story. It depends.
Because
Once upon a time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
Actually,
no. I was gonna say, like, Poya's gonna give you the context, which does make it better.
I don't want to derail. Sorry.
But my thing was like, why do we have to understand the context? Can't a movie just be good as the way it is? You know, like, do you agree with that or not?
I think most people who the movies are made for different audiences, right?
True.
The movie that was made for was for people who would understand the context because it's pretty much. We'll go into it later. The movie's a fairy tale. It's essentially a fairy tale because the real events were much darker.
Yeah.
But we can get into that as well because I'll tie it later in.
It's like Inglourious Bastards.
It's very much like Inglourious Bastards, which is, I think, the best Tarantino film. Highly recommend it.
One of my favorite films, Inglourious Bastards.
Incredible.
All right,
especially that
please,
scene with
proceed.
him. Like,
Yeah. The scene, yeah. Okay, enough derailing because the audience is probably like, what's the big thing? What's the question he's going to start with? Can Christians watch Harry Potter?
Hey, okay.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Harry Potter is such a good piece of writing.
No, it's pretty demonic actually.
You reckon?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Tell me.
No. What is this? Oh, we have freedom through Christ. Oh, yeah. We are free souls. We are free in Christ. And you can't watch Harry Potter.
Okay, if I'm free in Christ, does that mean that I can watch porn? Or I can,
No.
Or I can
Obviously,
get
I
drunk?
was making it.
Okay.
I was saying it in a
But
humorous
let's
way.
let's dive into this. Like, what do you
let's
mean
get
by
into
free in
substance.
Christ?
Okay, no.
Tell me.
That's not an actual argument. It was more of anyway. What I would say is, yeah, I think you can watch it
Okay.
because I remember when I was at my old church and we had this Russian couple come in. They were like really tall, like almost like 7 foot tall. This couple,
They're
right?
tall in Europe.
Giants.
And really tall. And he was telling us a story about how he was a Satan worshiper. He used to
my God.
listen to heavy metal music and he used to get down on the floor and literally worship Satan.
wow.
And he used to talk about this. Him and his wife, they used to do this, right? Then he got saved
Hmm.
and he completely renounced everything, including heavy metal music. And then after the conversation, I walked up to him and I said, hey, but you do know that like you can still enjoy Christian metal, right? And he's like, no, I can't do it.
Wow.
See, but does that mean that Christian metal is wrong? No, it's his personal conviction.
Yeah.
And this is where I see that I know people that will watch Harry Potter and they'll have like their own experience of, no, I can't watch this. That's their own conviction. And there's literally a verse in Romans that talks about this. If like some people have a conviction for certain things, like don't make them stumble. If they don't want to watch it, they don't have to watch it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think that some things are not a general sin for everybody. Some things are their own conviction.
Let me pull out the scripture up. But
So, for me
I wanna hear your-
personally, I don't feel any like I don't watch Harry Potter and walk away from the conversation and just turn into this evil person.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel that within me. I don't feel I have a conviction with it. So some things are like outright sins. Some things are personal convictions. That's my thoughts on it.
Yep. Ugh, okay, there's so many things running through my head. The first one is that scripture, food sacrificed to idols. It's the exact principle with alcohol. Like one of my really close girlfriends got married around the same time, and she said, "Oh, we're not going to have any alcohol at our wedding." And I said, "Why not?" And she said, "Well, my husband used to really struggle with that, so we're not going to have any alcohol." I said, "Okay, fair enough." But then I don't like it if someone is going to judge me for having alcohol, because I've never ever struggled with alcohol, like ever. Like I could have a shot of vodka with, I don't know, my pineapple juice at night after the kids go to bed. And that's
that
what
every
I
night,
want.
Josh?
Alcoholic. No, no,
She's like, oh, just something to just calm the nerves.
Sometimes I
Hey, it's
have
just a
colour.
pineapple juice. That's all
No.
I'm needing.
Literally, like even if I try to make it an everyday thing, I would just forget, or it's never been a stumbling
it's
block to
never a
me.
thing for you.
It's kind of like me and cigarettes. I've never ever been interested in smoking a cigarette or trying a cigarette ever. However, I have struggled with other things before, and so I think it's the same with the Harry Potter thing. So if you're like prone to like really being interested in tarot cards and New Age and witchcraft and Ouija boards, by all means do not watch Harry Potter, because then you might like be really interested in dabbling with the occult. Like I think that is probably fair to say. But I don't know, those of us who don't really struggle with those things, and we can appreciate it as a really good piece of writing, because it is a great piece of writing. Like J.K. Rowling, if she said, "Oh, I'm going to mentor you, Jess, so you can write your first novel," I'd be like, "Hell yes! How much is it? I'll pay it." Whatever. She's such a talented writer. I would love to learn off her. And I wanted, when I used to be an aspiring novelist, like I would love to do that. But yeah, I think it's the food sacrifice to idols principle.
That's the verse I just searched up. So I'm going to read this verse out.
Jess, and you've done everything. You've been a writer. You have been a DJ. You have been a coach. What haven't you not done, actually?
I've never been a DJ. I have
What did you
been a
say you were-
muso.
Oh, muso.
I've
I'll
been
teach you how to
muso.
DJ, and you can teach me how to do poetry.
Okay.
Oh, I've written
Oh, and you
poetry.
do poetry too. That's
yeah, I did
right.
spoken word poetry. Pretty
Ah.
seriously as well.
Wow.
I used to get paid for it. I used to gig across the country. I used to, yeah.
nerd. No,
No,
thanks,
yeah,
that's actually
I told
fire.
him I published a book of poetry.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Well, maybe
got,
we,
like,
we can
heaps
read
of
some
them.
out, and you can do like
Yeah.
an analysis, like breaking it down for us.
That's
Love it.
hefty. I'll buy it off you. I want to pay
Yeah.
money for it.
Okay, that's
Yeah, I wanna
sweet,
support your
sweet.
art, yeah.
I love it. Poya's very like. I've got to appreciate the art. I love that. I love it.
I'm all
You're
about
a real
supporting my-
lover of art, Poya.
Oh,
you
bro,
really are. You really are.
I love my art.
Hence, you brought this topic.
Follow me on Instagram, 777 art on Instagram.
Hey, it
Cool.
actually is pretty
So
good.
good.
Like,
It's actually
I would
pretty
have
good.
to say, like, I'm not
I
just
need to
tuning
check
it
this
for
out.
my best
Yeah.
mate. Like, it's
Yeah.
actually really
We
good.
might even put some up later, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
the scripture I wanted to read was Romans 8 and it's verse 9 onwards. Be careful, however, that the exercise of your rights does not become a stumbling block to the weak. For if someone with a weak conscience sees you with all your knowledge eating in an idol's temple, won't that person be emboldened to eat what is sacrificed to idols? So this weak brother or sister for whom Christ died is destroyed by your knowledge. When you sin against them in this way and wound their weak conscience, you sin against Christ. Therefore, if what I eat causes my brother or sister to fall into sin, I will never eat meat again, so I will not cause them to
Wow.
fall, sorry. So, in other words, what it's saying is become a vegan.
Interesting.
No, I'm kidding. So, I'll dive into my thoughts and I'll explain how this verse ties in. I'll add a bit of what you onto what you said, Jess. So, this Harry Potter thing is really interesting because I see both sides. I think it's a phenomenal piece of writing. I think it's a really interesting exploration of death and sacrificial love, and also classism and totalitarian governments and the propaganda machine. I think it's a very well written text. I also understand Christians who are concerned because it is witchcraft. You know, there is magic in it, and that is satanic. But here's my issue. And there's a few things I want to dive into here. I know a lot of Christians who love Lord of the Rings. You talk to any Christian who is ethnic or goes to like an Anglican church. Actually, no, just any Christian male.
I love all Lord of the Rings.
It doesn't even matter, actually. Any Christian male, they'll like Lord of the Rings. They froth over it. They'll quote the Silmarillion. They'll have, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not like, super into it, but like I've met people who are like really into it.
There's a clear double standard for you. You're pointing it out. That's cool. And I never thought of that.
And this is the thing. There's magic in Lord of the Rings.
Heaps
of magic. There's a wizard, Gandalf the wizard. He's literally a wizard.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think people are okay with Lord of the Rings, but not Harry Potter?
That's a really,
because I think there's
really
something
good
there.
question.
Oh, and I might just add on to that, Narnia. There's magic in Narnia. Now, Narnia is, really a metaphor for the creation story and for the end times. Yeah. I haven't read all of it, but I know the last book. I think apparently there's a lot of parallels with Revelation. But yes, you're right. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Aslan is a metaphor for Jesus.
Yeah,
and he dies, comes back to life. Spoilers, but you've had like 100 years to read it. Come on.
Exactly.
So, why do you think we make concessions for those texts, but not Harry Potter?
Number one, I just have to call it out. It's a double standard. It's a double standard, and it's a double standard that I've never thought about until you actually put it. But absolutely, like that is so true. But then I also think that there's a lot of people that I know. There's one really intense guy one day that came to our church and was like, yeah, Harry Potter's evil. But if I went to him and I said to him, but what about Lord of the Rings? He'd probably say, yeah, Lord of the Rings is probably evil too.
At least it's consistent.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah, that's true.
Weren't Tolkien and Lewis
Christian.
good friends? Yeah, and they were Christians.
Tolkien converted Lewis to Christianity.
There you go.
They had arguments at the
There
pub.
you go.
Tolkien was Lewis was an atheist, and they would have theology chats.
Wouldn't you love to go back in time and witness
Oh
all
man,
that?
God.
How cool would
love
that be?
love to be a fly on the wall. Yeah.
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 I imagine it would have been very esoteric though. A lot of big jargon.
What are they saying?
It's like, the eschatology of the fermentology of the liturgy of the. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, speaking
Chatty
English.
G, what do they mean? What do they mean? Yeah, exactly. Sorry, please continue.
No. What are your thoughts on this? Why do you think there is a double standard?
Because they were Christians writing fantasy. So then it comes, you know how they say, you know how with financial mindset work, right? We tell people that it's not bad to be rich or wealthy. Some people think that money is a bad thing. Money makes you evil. Money makes you greedy. But actually, it's just an amplifier for the values you already have.
Yeah.
So I think in the same way, if you have a real talent for writing, a real talent for writing fiction, then it amplifies the values that are already in you. So with Tolkien and Lewis, it amplified their Christian values, whereas with Rowling, it amplifies her, I don't know what, secular values?
Or just lack of
or lack
of Christian values.
She is very conservative, though.
I think she is a Christian.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, but I don't
think
know
she's
how
very
to vow it.
conservative. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's a feminist, but she's also got some conservative leanings. Yeah.
That
Like,
would
there
have
was
to make sense. I
You
mean,
know how there was that whole thing on all the Harry Potter actors going against her because she was against trans people?
oh yes. I literally recently hearing about Emma Watson not having some beef with her or something. Yeah.
That one's an interesting
Yeah.
situation because we can go into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
well,
What is it?
No, you go.
I mean, no, what's your
I don't know too much about it. I just know that Emma Watson said trans women are women and you are beautiful. I was like, trans women are not women. I'm sorry, they're not women. Anyway,
Yeah.
but and then that whole thing about treating J.K. Rowling like, oh, she's like my aunt, like she's part of my family. I don't necessarily agree with my aunt. I don't agree with everything she says, but I still want to go to Christmas with her and have her around the table and something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's an interesting situation. And I think that ties a lot into last week's topic of how do we disagree? Because this is my understanding. I don't know enough. From what I've seen, it appears, and I could be wrong, but it appears that J.K. Rowling. So J.K.'s context is she was in a very abusive marriage, like domestic violence, and she escaped from that, had a daughter that they escaped.
Homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then was very poor, wrote Harry Potter, and then got a publishing deal and
Yeah.
became richer than the Queen of England. And she's always been a fierce proponent of women's rights. So she's like ultra feminist because she had to be. She had no autonomy. So she's.
But isn't
bad
conservative
men.
that
Yeah.
you're not like that?
That's a thing. I think there's always nuances to these things, right?
Right.
So
Definitely.
she's probably considered conservative as in a feminist sense.
In a
So
business sense?
there's a term called TERF, which I think is meant to be derogatory, and it's trans exclusionary radical feminist. That's what they describe JK as. So JK's view is, so the context is abusive. She's been in abusive relationships. She's a victim of domestic violence. So she's experienced the harm that men can cause to a woman, right? And so she's like a fierce proponent of women's rights. She's been poor. She's like she's very she's like pro empowering those who have no power. So with that mindset, then seeing the whole trans thing happen, and regardless, we may have all differing views on this. We may have similar views. But from her perception, in her mind, she's seeing a man going into a safe space for women, like a bathroom.
Yeah.
And the first thing she'll obviously think about is, I can get assaulted. And and I'm not saying that's like, even away from the DV, I think that's a valid thing, regardless of whether you're pro-trans or not. I think that is valid. And I think it's foolish to disregard that. Going through domestic violence or what she's been through, I can totally see that her first reaction is like, this is horrible. This is terrifying. And not only that, you're impeding on all the things, the female experience of going, like having periods and, having to like feel vulnerable when you're walking around just because of your biology, all of those things, and even women's sports. So I understand for her why the whole trans thing is so like, to her, very dangerous.
Yeah.
And then I think she wrote a paper outlining her views, and I think it wasn't even too inflammatory. But then I can understand the view of a trans person, especially when someone you look up to. And I used to play Quidditch, and Quidditch was quite LGBTQ. So there's a lot of trans people. But most of the trans people I know, my trans friends, are from Quidditch. And for them, it like makes sense to
It's
me.
really funny because they can't hate Harry Potter.
Well, they do now.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious.
They do now. They've changed the name of Quidditch to Quad Ball to distance themselves.
Wow.
But imagine that. Imagine like there is like a
That is actually hilarious.
But I mean, it's sad though. I mean, like, let's have a more compassionate view as well. I'm not saying we have to agree. I don't agree with the trans stuff, but I think like if we look at it with compassion, these are people who feel a certain way about themselves. They feel displaced in their bodies, and so they're trying to find some sense of belonging, and they've probably been felt marginalized a lot of their lives, regardless of where. Again, I'm more on the conservative side of it, but from an empathetic side, I can understand. And so then when you see your hero, and this is what we'll get into later, how art is meaningful and how it shapes us and how it gives us hope and makes us want to be better. When you see the creator of a work of art that is so seminal to your growth as a person, essentially deny your existence, or you perceive them to deny your existence, of course you're going to be upset and mad. Yeah. And so what I perceive is a lot of trans people were hurt by that and then spoke up. Sorry for bumping the mic. Spoke up. And then JK was probably triggered because she's like, well, I've been abused by men. I can see how this can go a very dark way. So she gets more triggered. And then that triggers them. And then they're all just getting triggered. And then it's escalated to the point where I think JK is having a bit of a crash out at the moment.
Is she crashing out?
A little bit, yeah.
What's the crash out? What is she doing?
Just like really inflammatory stuff on social media, like almost mocking trans people. And it's
how bad has she gone? Like on a scale from one.
Oh, there was like
on a scale from 1 to Kanye, where is she?
Oh, not Kanye level. She hasn't gone Nazi, but like maybe like an 8.
That's
but it's like bad. It's like
That's
she's not.
bad.
She's not in her right mind. I think. Like she's obviously like. I feel she's become quite like bitter, and I understand that. Of course, when you're being like, insulted and harassed, like I understand her perspective. I also understand the trans people because and I just see it as two people who are hurt that then get triggered by each other and hurt each other, and then it just escalates to a really unhealthy level, and they're not talking to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a great example of how one person's trauma, what do you call it, stimulates another person's trauma. And
I like me personally, there are a lot of people that I really appreciate their art, but I don't appreciate what they say. Like, for example, every morning I do a Sam Harris meditation.
Okay,
right? But the way he talks about Christianity is like he absolutely destroys Christianity. In his own way, he's an atheist, like strong atheist.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. For me, I find myself being able to appreciate art even if they deny my existence, or I don't know. Like I just wish that people knew that that's possible.
Yeah.
You can have someone that you appreciate something from, and yet like not agree with their views. Like that's possible. It's not easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy. I understand we're human, but it is possible.
Okay,
People
let's
do it-
get into
people
this
do it all the
question
time.
then.
Yeah, you go.
All right, but I feel like it'll tie in.
Okay, go.
Can you separate the art from the artist? And as a Christian, how do you navigate that? Because I think that's a different thing.
Can you break down what separating art from artist means?
So pretty much what you said, you have a piece of art that you enjoy, but the artist is someone you may not like, may disagree with.
Now I know why he's so passionate about this. Kanye West.
Yeah, but not just Kanye.
I got you. This is a good topic.
I need to know what happened to Kanye. What happened to Kanye?
Well, okay, let's break that whole Kanye thing. So I'll explain my journey with this.
Right.
Yeah.
I truly believe Kanye is the closest thing we have to a Da Vinci of this century.
Oh,
Truly believe that.
You think he's a genius?
I know he's a genius.
Oh.
Okay. And I have to say this.
Yeah.
When people say that Kanye is genius, I'm like, you're just an idiot. You're just jumping on the trend. You're just jumping on the bandwagon.
Right.
And honestly, like I asked Poya and I said, Poya, explain it to me, and I'll give you my honest take. And honestly, by the end of it, I'm like, yeah, he's a genius.
Oh wow.
So you go for it and you convince the world right now why he's actually a genius.
So I'm gonna lay out his whole story.
Okay.
When Kanye first started, he was a producer, so he just made beats for different hip hop artists, so the background music, right? But he made really interesting beats, like sounds no one's really heard before. A lot of like sampling, so taking old songs and chopping them up, a lot of soul samples, this kind of chipmunk sound. Kanye then wanted to have his own record deal and become a rapper. But back then, you had to be a gangster rapper. Like gangster rap, pretty much rap was just like baggy jeans. Yeah. Very different direction from that.
Oh,
It was more like,
Tupac. It was like
like Tupac,
Biggie.
Biggie, like Nas, you know? I don't sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. It's like, it was hood life.
Yeah.
But Kanye wasn't hood. Kanye was middle class, grew up with a single mom, but she was a uni lecturer. He like lived in China for 2 years, could speak Mandarin as a kid, like wrote poems, was an he went to art school, dropped out of art school.
Crazy.
Like Kanye was not your typical, I guess, hip hop artist.
Yeah.
He eventually managed to get a record deal, made his first album called The College Dropout, which had this chipmunk sound, soul samples, very, very heartfelt lyrics, very funny lyrics, but also a lot of like conscious rap as well, like rapping about how black people are oppressed and things like that, and classism, but also rapping about, you know, the idiosyncrasies of family dinners and the weird stuff that happens and how family's complicated. It's a great song called Family Business. I tear up when I listen to it. He also had a song on that album, which is a workout tape, which also looks at the pressure on women to look a certain way and how women have to use dating to move up social class.
Right.
Kanye was really, hypergamy. So Kanye is quite intelligent, and he had a lot of insights, and that was expressed really powerfully through his music and lyricism and wordplay. But also the sound was like nothing anyone heard before. The aesthetics, nothing anyone had seen before. It was an album about being middle class. Literally, there's a song called Spaceship where he raps about how he hates working in his retail job and wants to bash his manager. Like,
wow,
it's insane. And then that gets critically acclaimed, sells out, like, and then he does another album called does another album called Late Registration, which builds on that, but it adds orchestration in. Then he does like, what is it? Graduation, which is phenomenal. That's like big stadium rap. Again, no one ever saw anything like that before. Very different. Then his mother dies. His mum was his best friend. And then he goes off the rails. That's when the Taylor Swift thing happens. He gets absorbed into his work. His fiance and him break up. Then he makes his fourth album. Originally, he was going to do an album called Good Ass Job to continue on the college series. He calls it 808s and heartbreaks. 808s a type of drum. The whole album, no rapping, no swearing, just singing, auto tune, which adds this like almost isolated like kind of pain.
Dark, like
it's like
lonely, but
robotic,
real raw vibe.
It's raw, but it's also like he's not fully human. There's a detachment to it, and it's all about his mother's death and the breakdown of his relationship. And that album is why we have Drake and Tyler the Creator. Like Drake said, that album is why he has a career.
Wow.
That album, that level of vulnerability was not seen in hip hop. And then after that, he did a Taylor Swift thing where he was pretty much cancelled. Like his career was over. He then went to Japan and Hawaii and recorded his album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And everyone had to wear a suit in the recording studio.
Wow.
And that is considered to be one of the greatest albums ever made.
Oh my God.
And so each album, he's always doing something different. He's pushing the boundaries. He's breaking the rules. Fashion. He's breaking the rules. And each album has a different aesthetic. And even his like crash outs are kind of like
method to the madness.
But I think with Kanye, what happened is his mental health deteriorated. He's got bipolar, but he also denies the diagnosis. And I think part of that is he was hospitalized in 2016, and there's all this stuff behind that, where he's like, there's like conspiracies behind that. That's when he got diagnosed. Anyway, and then he got the divorce.
Yeah.
I think the divorce set him off because he's been in love with Kim pretty much his whole life.
Right.
And to lose his muse
Yeah.
and to see her with another man, I think, and that's why he left Jesus, because he's like, God didn't bring my family back.
Yeah.
And he feels betrayed by all his friends, but he doesn't realize his part.
Yeah.
And so now he's just like, I hate everyone. He was before, like when he did the whole Trump thing, the whole like, wearing the MAGA cap, that was his way of saying we should embrace everyone with different views. He was like, his whole thing was like, love everyone. Now he's just full of hate. So that's what happened to Kanye, but it's also literally he's losing his mind.
So what would you say is kind of like the almost like final summary of why he's a genius?
He breaks the rules for good or for better or for worse.
You have sold me to Kanye.
Yeah.
I'm going to listen to 808s and Heartbreaks.
It's
all the way
beautiful.
home.
Listen to Coldest Winter. It's about his mum and his fiance.
Oh wow. Who
but
was not Kim Kardashian.
no, Alexa Pfeiffer before Kim. Yeah.
But okay, so here's another question, just to go deeper on it. It's like people could also say things like that about Michael Jackson. People could also say things.
Michael Jackson
like,
was a genius.
Yeah. But people can also say things about that, like Lady Gaga. And the way that you explained it to me the other day was like, oh yeah, he's really a genius. So if someone comes to you and goes, okay, Michael Jackson, okay, Madonna, okay, Lady Gaga, why is he different?
I think when you just look at the discography, like I think Lady Gaga's good, but I don't think she's revolutionized music like Kanye has. Michael Jackson was phenomenal, but I don't think that each album was so drastically different. Like each Kanye album is very different.
Yeah.
Like it's always polarizing when you first listen to it.
It's amazing.
Like he completely switches things up. He never does the same thing twice. And everyone follows his trends. Everyone. He did like in 2018, and he did 5 albums. Not all of them were his, but he produced 5 albums. 2 of them were his. They were all 7 songs, exactly 7 songs. And then after that, and it was like this whole thing of like, what is an album? Can an album be 7 songs at 20 minutes long? Isn't that an EP? After that, everyone started releasing albums that were like 20 minutes long. So, but then in with setting up that context,
that's the stuff I'm talking about. Yeah.
But to bring that back to how do you separate the art from the artist? I think that's a tough question. I want to hear about you guys first.
Well, the first question you asked was, can you?
Can you?
Yeah, and what do you think?
I think you can, but I think it's complicated. What about you guys?
Wait, explain why. Explain why.
All right. I think this is my thinking on it. I think there's 2 things we have to be real about. Is the art good enough that we can separate the art from the artist? But also, is the art directly tied to the artist's transgressions?
Okay.
So Charlemagne...
that's so good.
So
that's well said.
Yeah.
That's well said.
So Charlemagne talks about... For Charlemagne's like a pundit. Charlemagne the God is what he calls himself.
Dumbest name I've ever heard. Sorry. But
Charlemagne's sick, but the God
name.
bit's not good. That's heretical.
Is he another rapper? I'm so confused.
He was he's a radio host. He has some good insights.
He does.
But he's also a bit like...
Yeah.
But he's funny.
But can I separate the dumbness of his name from
Charlemagne? Charlemagne's a sick name though. I just don't like the last bit because of heretical.
That's what I'm talking about.
But he's also Jehovah's Witness, so. He grew up Jehovah's. So anyway,
I can't separate it. No,
well, you can share your answer when it's... Yeah, so I think he talks about R. Kelly, and he says he doesn't listen to R. Kelly's music because R. Kelly's music is all about like sex and lovemaking or whatever, but he's attracted to teenagers. So his music is directly tied to his transgressions.
Yeah, right.
Michael Jackson's complicated because I don't know if he did it. I really don't know.
Mm.
And I think I've seen evidence for both sides. And I think that, yeah, I don't know. I think like part of it is the art's just really good. I have to be, but I also think part of it is it wasn't directly tied to his transgressions. I also think part of it is if he did do it.
That's one of the best answers I've ever heard.
Yeah, if he
That's
did.
so good, player.
And I think part of it is if
Yeah.
he did do it, if we look at the context of his life, I think he was a boy trapped in it. And I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm just saying, like, I think it's different from like a predator. Yeah, I think it is different from like someone who's just like a predator going after a child when he literally thinks he's a child. It's still bad and he still has power. And he should have been so, but that's if he did it. We don't know if he did
You're
it.
just saying it's like, yes, for sure it's bad, but there's more sophistication to it.
There's nuances to it.
Yeah,
And again,
yeah.
it doesn't, if he did do it, it's horrible. It's disgusting. Yeah, he would be a monster.
You're safe. Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, it's important we got to look at the whole picture.
Yeah.
But I also have to say, maybe part of it is just the music's really good. And so maybe I'm just trying to justify it. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Look. Sorry, go on, Jess. Go.
I just want to tease out that art is connected to the transgression. So meaning that if it is blatantly celebrating pedophilia, then that's bad and can't be separated out from.
I would argue,
Yes.
yeah. So with
Yes.
Kanye,
That's a good criteria.
Okay.
Yeah. So with Kanye, he went on he crashed out hard this year and pretty much made a bunch of Nazi songs. I don't touch that music.
Okay. Got
Like
it.
you can't even listen on Spotify because
It's
you can't post it.
amplifying his inner values. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just pumping it and enjoying it in the car.
We were not. I was showing
We
you.
were listening to
I
it.
was-
No, we
no,
weren't
I-
celebrating.
We were
just listening
discussing
to
the
it.
topic, and I showed you.
Yeah,
I showed
yeah.
you the version he then ended up releasing, which was like changed.
Yeah, he was just showing.
But
me.
like
yeah, go on,
the
yeah.
actual Nazi versions, like I genuinely don't touch that because it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's. I don't want to condone that, and that's why I haven't bought any of his recent merch because I'm not going to support him when he's doing that.
Yeah.
But I will listen to his old stuff because it's not that wasn't the Kanye that's here now,
Yeah.
and it's not celebrating that. I don't listen to Vultures 1 because it's just him being a sex addict.
Yeah.
That's the album he released last year with Ty Dolla Sign.
Is this Back to Me?
Yeah, the whole
Oh.
album is him just acting out in his sex addiction.
Oh.
Who's this R. Kelly?
I love
No,
that
Kanye,
album.
Kanye.
I love those two songs.
They're good
so
songs. Like the songs are
Production
good,
is so good.
but like literally that whole album, because like Kanye did Donda, which was his last Christian album. Then he went crazy,
Yeah.
and then teamed up with Ty Dolla Sign, released Vultures 1 and 2. Vultures 2 is a terrible album,
Yeah.
but Vultures 1's like pretty decent musically,
Yeah.
but it's just sexual lyrics. It's porn.
Yeah.
I don't touch it. Like I actually
Porn
can't listen to
music,
it.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I think for me, from my perspective, it's like, am I condoning? Yeah, but then it gets complicated because then you get into like how much.
I think I know where you're gonna go.
I-
You're going to okay, fine. Like this album is basically him acting out his sexual addiction, so fine, no. But you're now going to. But there's other songs where he's talking about the art, but he might be still swearing. Is that what you mean?
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah.
Why do we? I'm making a concession now. No, Jess. I feel like you wanted to say something. I want you.
Well, it's just okay. So I'm just trying to keep up here because you guys clearly have had really intense discussions about this before we came on air, and something I want to tease out for people who are trying to keep up like me. One thing I'm noticing is you're saying you're conflating art with, well, maybe I'm conflating art with the fact that this table is a piece of art, right? Can you separate the art from the artist? In terms of this table, yes, I don't care who the artist is. It's a good table,
Yeah,
right? And I think we can't put the same label of art over a song versus a sculpture or a piece of furniture.
So it depends on the art.
Depends
type
on
of
the art, yeah. So let's say it depends on the art.
That's good. That's
So
a really good point.
Okay, so something like that Rudyard Kipling poem. If you can keep your head when all about you is losing
Such a good poem.
theirs and blaming it on you. Da, 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 da. It's such a good poem, right? I don't think anyone would care how. Like, I think people would be interested in how Rudyard Kipling wrote that poem, but it's a great poem. It's very aspirational. It's very motivational. It's like emblazoned on a lot of sports fields. You know, like, yes, I think in that regard you can separate the art from the artist if there's function and utility of the piece of art for other uses. Then people are just interested in the story, but they're not connected to the story, or they don't have to be connected to the story.
Yeah.
But I like your point, Poya, because
These 2
obviously
points
you're
definitely
thinking-
connect.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
thinking about art that is more music or more poetry or more film or TV show.
Where it does become a little bit
Yeah.
more complex as to whether we're supporting their agenda or not.
Yeah.
But what you said is really true as well. Like it could,
Yeah.
like if it's a table and
Mm.
someone invented tables, I'm not going to be like, oh well, I'm not going to use the table because he was a pedophile. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Like I didn't put my drink down somewhere.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
just
good
thinking
point.
now. I think if it was 100% Michael Jackson did it, I don't think I could listen to his music.
Okay.
So now I'm
okay.
thinking like,
Yeah. All right.
see, this is complicated.
Okay,
This is
but
complicated.
okay. Well, here's another question though. Now the question
Mm.
is it moral now? Like, okay, because now you're going, okay, well, that's my
Mm.
conviction. I won't personally do it. But is it objectively wrong to listen to his music if you know that he was a pedophile?
I don't know. And
Really?
Because I can only speak for
a
myself.
I have a feeling that, I mean, this is just objective, like objective moral law. I personally think that if he was a pedophile, but I still listen to the music, I feel like objectively speaking, it's not wrong. But if it's your conviction, you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
It would be my conviction to not listen to a pedophile's music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on principle, I would not listen to R. Kelly's music anymore.
Yeah, I can't listen.
I don't give
can't.
a F
Can't.
if you believe you can fly. Like F you.
Yeah.
No.
I can't. And I'm glad he's in jail.
Oh.
I'm
ugh,
glad they got
it's
him. And
revolting.
everyone knew. And like, it's just,
Oh, so gross. Yeah.
even, yeah, it's tricky because where do you draw the line with the transgression as well? Like, pedophilia is, I think it's probably maybe the most
Pure
evil. Like, it's
pure evil.
it's
yeah.
pure evil.
Yeah.
And but then I guess there is the whole thing of like hurt people. So is the
Yeah.
person pure? But the act is pure evil. Like the
Yeah.
act is so disgusting.
Oh, look.
like
Yeah, this is a conversation that we could go on a really big rabbit hole. But I think it makes, and I don't know what the actual verse is, so you guys may have to correct me. But from my understanding, from what
Yeah.
I've heard in like Christian law, it's almost like every sin is sin, right?
Yeah.
And then I think, okay, well, anyway, why would God do that? Well, like, why would? And then I go, it makes. If that is the case, if that really is in the Bible, or if they say that in the Bible, if that's what God like tried to say to us, that every sin is sin, it makes sense. Because otherwise, like Paul says, you would boast for what you've done. In the same way, you will like boast and say, no, you're wronger than me. I'm wronger than you. You're wronger
but
than
what,
me.
what do you mean by every sin is sin? I don't.
As in, it can't be measured.
It can't be measured. All sin is the same.
I actually don't think that. I actually don't think the Bible says that.
Yeah. Okay. Got you.
I disagree. I haven't seen a verse that says that. So
I'll
yeah,
look it
look
up
it
while
up.
you guys
Say
figure it out.
blaspheming the Holy Spirit is the worst sin.
That's the only. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
unforgivable sin.
Yeah.
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 But I think I would argue sexual sin is worse than a lot of sins because Paul
To
makes a
sin against your
distinction.
own body. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're sinning against the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And I think murder is a heinous sin because you're killing an image bearer.
Yeah.
But I think the consequence, the penalty for sin it's all the same.
Yeah.
But and that's where it's like, how do if that is what the Bible says, and you clear this up for us, Kevin. But if assuming that is what the Bible says, that there are hierarchy to sin, how does that play out in our music? Do we say, okay, I'll listen to music that has swearing in it and you know promotes fornication, but I won't listen to music that is about like someone who's in the gang life killing someone because they had to? What are your thoughts?
So it does actually point to you technically being correct, but not in the sexual way. So it actually says that
That could sound really wrong out of context.
yeah. So basically, it says yes, all have sinned and fall short of the glory, but not all sin is equal in consequence. So for example, different punishments for different sins. So Jesus said some will receive greater condemnation. Jesus tells Pilate, the one who handed me over to you is guilty of a greater sin.
But
Certain sins are described especially grievous. Murder, oppression of the poor, sexual immorality. There you go. But practically some sins have worse earthly consequences. Lying hurts trust, but murder destroys life. So
I agree with
I don't
earthly
know,
consequences,
yeah.
but I would say the spiritual punishment's the same.
But I do feel like there is a, and I don't know what you think about this. I feel like there's always been like this hidden thing of sexual sin is worse. And I feel like it's just the same as murder. It's the same as murder.
I don't know. I feel like murder's pretty bad. You're killing someone.
Well, yeah, murder's probably worse.
I agree with
Like
Someone's-
murder.
Someone's
Like-
like, you're not coming back if you get murdered.
No, but like, as in like, I don't know. It seems like it's made seem, out there arbitrarily, everyone has agreed that sexual sin is like extremely, extremely bad, which I think it is. But I don't know. I don't know.
I think let me find the scripture. So
Yeah.
Paul talks about where is it? Sin against the temple of the Holy.
The body is the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Body
Yes,
is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Yep.
and that's what you mean, Poya.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, here we go. All right. So I'm gonna read it out. This episode went a very different direction.
That's
than
all
I
right.
thought it would.
It's juicy.
So juicy. We might have to do a part 2 because we only got 20 minutes left. Okay, so 1 Corinthians verse 6. I'm sorry, chapter 6, verse 19.
Yeah.
Do you not know? Let me actually get the whole thing out. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It pretty much it's 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18. Sorry, listeners, it's taking me a while. Flee sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the person who is sexually immoral sins against his own body. And then the next verse is, every other sin a man can commit. Yeah, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. So I think that's a pretty big deal. The temple is a sacred place. Our bodies are sacred.
Yep.
And I think sexual sin, you talk a lot about it, Jess. Why do you think sexual sin is so heinous?
Well, there's the spiritual point of view, the fact that I know that you're funny about soul ties, but there is like a combining and a meshing of two souls when
Yeah,
two
I agree
people
with
have
that, yeah.
sex. And I think a similar thing can happen when you bond with someone emotionally as well. But physically, that I think there's a reason why sexual abuse hits harder than physical, emotional, psychological abuse. Then there's the fact of the fact that it's life giving. So that if it produces children, that creates a whole generation that needs to be healed because of the sins of the fathers and the mothers. Then there's the fact that it's different for women and men. That like with women, it's women fall in love with every orgasm, whereas men, for men, sex isn't even, factored into in terms of love. So, yeah. I don't know. Did I cover that?
No, I think you did.
Decently.
But is sex is sex not factored in with love with men? Is that true?
In terms of, I was talking about on the Jamie episode, the vasopressin versus the oxytocin. So, when a man falls in love, it has nothing to do with actually having sex with a woman, according to love biologist Dawn Maslow. So, like,
I think that's kind of true.
You reckon?
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of true. Because I don't know. I feel like falling in
more
love
emotional.
with my wife
Yeah.
has not been like because of sex.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why they say with men they have sex because it's available, not because, or they don't
Because
care
it's
if they make love to a 1 out of 10. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And I think that's where we see like that's where we see the real destructive power of sexual sin. It can really crumble a society.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that now. And I think that's where it raises the question, right? Of like, where do we, and I'm curious for your guys' thoughts, where do we draw the line? And where do you guys draw the line with what you consume?
In terms of TV shows.
In terms of TV, music, like where do you,
That's a great question.
That's a great
will you
question.
watch a movie with sex scenes? Will you listen to songs that are about sex? Will you listen to songs with swearing? Will you listen to gangster rap? And if you do listen to gangster rap, why? Is there more nuances to it?
You know what? Okay. So when I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience or this kind of situation happen where you're kind of like, you're in a relationship and then people are, telling you can't have sex before marriage and, you're arguing and you're making these arguments like, oh, if you were an island and, no one knew that like, no one could marry you guys. Like, you start making all these arguments like, could you, no, it's fine. We're going to get married anyway. You make all these arguments, but deep inside, it's wrong. And the point I'm making is, I feel like deep inside, for everything. I feel like sometimes I might watch a TV show. I might watch a show and I might in my head just be like, yeah, this is kind of wrong. Like, or like I'm just enjoying it a little bit too much. And like, I think
Yeah.
What's
I
an
think
example? What's a personal example?
So it could be like, maybe I'm watching a show which has like it's like a really raunchy show.
Yeah.
And part of me knows that I'm getting a little bit of sexual gratification from watching this.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I might be like, oh no, I'm part of me is like, no, I'm enjoying this because it's just a movie, but part of me knows. You know what I mean? And I feel like
Is
most
that why
of
you
the
stopped
time.
watching Paw Patrol?
How did you know that? How did you know that?
Zuma, Sky.
Sorry,
Oh, you
continue.
actually that means your son watches
My
it?
son loves Paw Patrol. He's having a Paw Patrol birthday party.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
But sorry,
But
continue your point.
but yeah, I think the truth is, I think we all try to do this thing where we try to kind of break down the intuition, but like we all know when you're, if you know, you know. I think you know inside. I think deep inside we know that we are allowing our flesh to take over.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
There was okay. You know that movie Unfaithful with
Yeah, Diane
Richard
Lane,
Gere and
Richard
Diane
Gere,
Lane. Diane
Martin
Lane,
Olivier.
what a babe! Like no matter how old she gets, she's such a babe. Anyway, but she's when she was a lot younger.
Is this with like the black dude who's like?
No, not with the black dude. So this is from memory. It's years since I've watched
I think it was 1998 because
Yeah.
my English tutor told me the whole plot.
Oh really?
It's so dark.
Hilarious. But yeah, it gets pretty dark at the end. But I think what I just every time I watch a TV show or a movie and there's some subplot about cheating in it, or just some plot about cheating, I get really angry at the person that seduced the married person because I'm like, how dare you? Like, you have no respect for the sanctity of marriage. Like, do you not realize what those two have built? They have kids. How dare you? Like, I get so angry. And like I get angrier at that than I do at like the astronomer CEO cheating on his wife because we just saw a photo and then we're sort of filling in the blanks in our head. But this is an actual story of like we see the seduction play out and it's part of the narrative and it's part of the plot and stuff. And I just can't like get entertained by that because I'm so angry in my values. Not that, but I still like I did try to watch another movie about that and I was still so angry I couldn't just enjoy it as a whatever movie. Like I was like, why am I watching this? This is so, it makes me so riled up. Like I just wouldn't, I don't think I would get seduced by a man who is trying to like break up my marriage, like actively break up my marriage. It's just gross. Like the whole thing is so gross. Anyway, so from an art point of view, I think like I would like watch it if it was part of a TV show that I was watching with Tom or something, but I would still be so mad like watching it. I don't know, and that I couldn't just be entertained
and
by it.
it's bringing a sin in you, right? Like it's triggering a sin of like anger, probably some form of like I don't know, resentment. Would you say?
Well, it's just rubbing up against my value system.
Yeah.
So it's like their value system is so opposite of mine, and I'm like, how can this be celebrated? Brah. And I guess it's the same with.
Remind me to send you a reel on this. But anyway, go on. Yeah.
But also, I tried to watch this show called Claws, and like the very first scene, these like kind of hoey women with like really long fake nails, like just doing it in the back room with some guy that walked in, like the mailman that walked in, and I was like, what the heck is this? It's so gross. Like it's not even sexy. Like it wasn't even. Anyway, I don't know what I'm trying to get at here, but just yeah, how some values can be really opposite and rub me the wrong way. Thank you.
And so do you avoid those type of?
I just want it cheap. The whole thing is so cheap. Like, but I do think that there's it's not to say that another like okay, White Lotus, right? Like
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you
I
haven't
need
seen
to
White
watch it. I
Lotus?
really want to watch it.
Oh my god!
But I know there's like a lot of gross stuff in it.
So there is some really gross stuff in White Lotus, right?
Yeah.
but
I'm
it's
watching
still
it.
a
No
good,
jokes.
it's still a well-written show, and it's still really well produced and well made. Like there's a scene where, a spoiler alert, but there's a younger man having sex with an older man, and they're not meant to be doing that, and it's just really gross.
Ever.
And like to the character, like, it's such a twist. It's such a twist in the whole thing, and I'm like, that's gross, but I can see why it's relevant to the whole story, and it makes sense, like in the whole scheme of the story.
Yeah,
Does it make sense?
That makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense because that's similar to my sentiments. Because
Because it wasn't like a personal. You didn't feel anything. You were just like, oh, that's related. Like I get why it fits into the story. Yeah.
yeah.
Versus you're enjoying something or getting some sort of flesh gratification out of it. Yeah.
I think it's also like why you like what is the story trying to say? So like, so I remember a few years ago. Overall, yeah, because I remember John Piper, and I have a lot of respect for John Piper.
Yeah.
I do disagree with him on a few things, and I disagree with him on this, but I understand his perspective. He wrote an article called "Why Christians Shouldn't Watch Game of Thrones," pretty much saying that there's sex scenes in it, and the actors are actually committing these acts, and they're simulated, but it's different than violence where they're not actually killing people. And then he said, like, you're watching these scenes, you're watching porn, and all, and like that's a fair argument. I think a lot of those are fair arguments. Sorry,
doesn't the Bible do like?
But you don't see it. It's different seeing on a screen and seeing actors like nude and like rubbing up against each other.
Yeah, but like a
Like,
a lot of women read like books and they get turned on by it, and that's like sexually gratification.
But do they get turned on by the Bible?
Bro, I think I think that's possible.
There's probably some freaks out there who do, but I don't think the Bible was written to turn people on.
No, it's not. It's
but
not.
I think
I
think it's different because it's not like you're visually seeing it. There's not actors who are doing it.
Yeah.
And I disagree with John Piper on this, but I think his logic makes sense.
Yeah.
And I remember I watched Game of Thrones, what I liked about the ending's terrible, by the way. It's not even worth watching. But what I did like about Game of Thrones before it ended, and I realized the whole thing fell apart. Back when it was good, was that it was a very nuanced exploration of humanity.
Right.
Because there was no real evil characters except maybe two people across an ensemble cast.
Yeah.
Like, you had a character who was committing incest with his sister who threw a kid out of a window in the first episode.
That one. I was like, what is this? That's gross.
It's gross. And then later you find out more about him and he actually becomes a hero. But he's still in love with his sister.
Yeah.
But you kind of like him, but you don't endorse that. So it's like it challenges you and like, can I see someone holistically
for being the first show that really did that?
I think they did that. I'm not saying incest is okay. I think it's chat. It's disgusting. Not for it. I'm just saying the fact that I hated him purely because of that.
Yeah.
But it's like I learned to love this character, even though he threw a kid out a window, while not condoning him. It's like people are complex. People are a mixture, and they are almost not necessarily, but in a sense, are the product of what happened to them. They still have a responsibility to overcome it, and you see that happen with these characters. So I found Game of Thrones really compelling for that reason. But I was conflicted about the sex scenes. So what I started doing, I just stopped watching the sex scenes. And I'd watch it with friends. So I actually watched with my high school friends who weren't Christians, and they would literally roast me because the sex scene would come up and I'd just be like this.
Yeah.
And they'd be trying to grab my hand like, no.
Yeah.
It was good. Actually, helped me develop my forearm strength. But like that was
for the wrong reason.
For the right reasons.
Yeah.
But
even Nick got that one.
I think Jess got that too, and our listeners probably did. I apologize for Kevin's humor. It's all right. But I think that in that I was also a good witness, but I also was aware of how the show was affecting me, and I was like, I don't feel like if I watched it that way, it was promoting lust in my heart, and so I was able to enjoy the show. Now,
good point.
There's other shows which I probably wouldn't watch that have a lot of nudity because I'm like, I just don't want to risk it. Like, that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm very selective with what I watch.
What it is, bro. It's the heart posture when you're watching it.
But it's also, I think if you're watching the sex scene, you are lusting. You're not lusting. It could be porn.
I'm saying,
and I think I think it's more than heart posture. I think it is also like it's both.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. No, but what I'm saying is like, okay, I'll give you an example, right? So you could have the right heart posture. And you could not know a sex scene is coming, and then the sex scene ends up coming, and it's going to be like 2 seconds. So you just sit
that's fine. Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, and then, but you could have whatever heart posture. You don't know the sex scene coming. It comes, and then maybe you're like, oh well, let me rewind that or something like that. So heart posture is everything.
Yeah, and
because the heart posture, you can watch it and you can just be like, yeah, I'm disengaging, whatever, just let it go past.
Yeah.
I think everything is heart posture.
Yeah, and also I think it's like sometimes you're watching the show and you know that there's gonna be sex scenes, and you're kind of mostly watching it just hoping a sex scene will come up. I'm sure you and I have been there, Kevin. We're men.
For sure.
Yeah. And so, like, I think it's being aware of that, like, why you're watching a show and what story is the show trying to promote. Like, I wouldn't watch a show like Sex Life, which is like, I watched
the first season. It was so gross.
Yeah, I one of my friends told me about it. I was like, this show just sounds disgusting.
The whole season. No, just
yeah, I was thinking that too. But yeah, and I think like even with Tarantino, there's so much we can go into, so we might have to do a part 2. But you know, I love dark films. Like one movie I really love is a movie called Old Boy, Korean film. It was traumatic at the end. Like genuinely one of the most
This
disturbing.
is where it gets very nuanced.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of Christians will probably, if they knew what was going to go in that movie, would tell me not to watch it. But that movie really showed me how empty revenge is. It was probably the best exploration of revenge that I've ever seen in cinema.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the question, and here's the unspoken question that's coming out of this. Okay, so let's just say you're saying Old Boy is a dark film, but I went in there and I experienced a lot of benefits from it because I watched the film and I was like, wow, like I learned a lot about humanity that was, in a way, that was very educational.
Yeah.
Right? And are you saying because it's like that, it's okay to watch those films that are super dark?
Well,
is that what you're saying?
This is the last question. This is a question I want to wrap up on, actually. We got about 9 minutes, like for 5 minutes, really. So let's keep it tight. But do you guys think there's value in media that is considered dark and maybe on the surface unchristian, like a Tarantino film?
100%.
And why? And what's an example of that in your life? Because we all have that.
But I think you could also say that there's value in everything.
There is, but
just the way you look at it.
There is, but like a Christian has said to me, "Why would you watch something that's so violent? Like, why would you watch Tarantino? He glorifies violence. Like, what is the value in that story? Like, what are we getting from it?
See, but there's a presumption there, because I feel like what the whole conversation there is it right or wrong, right? And but based on what you're saying the presumption is the way you're asking the question is if there's value to be gained, then maybe it makes it right. And is that the way things are? That if there is value in that thing that is potentially evil, I don't know, does it justify it and make it right? I don't know, but I'm asking you guys the question.
What are your thoughts, Jess?
Okay. I don't know. I'll go back to what I said about how art is an amplifier for the person's values. And so someone can have like, I remember like being a film student or just even being an artist or like having an idea for a song, right? And I'd be so frustrated because I didn't have all the tools that I needed to make what was in my head. So then I just made bad art, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. But I think that there is currently like so many streaming services. So there's all this content being just churned out like butter, and you know, there was one point in my, like, especially my 20s, I had come full circle. I used to be the girl with her guitar trying to find new bars to gig at for like some cash, and going, well, maybe I can sing. Then I designed my set list with songs that I'd written myself and go, this audience will like it. They're sort of like older people who are rich and are just wanting to have a nice Friday night. And then when I was planning my hotel date with my husband, I was like, now I'm the old person wanting a nice Friday night with her, wanting live music. I was like scouring, you know, which pub to go to after dinner. Anyway, so what am I saying? I'm saying that is there value in the dark arts? No, in art that is considered a little bit dark. I think it depends on what the artist is trying to say. Will it always mesh with my values? Probably not. I'm pretty squirmish, and I probably couldn't handle the same level of violence you guys can. There are some things that, like, Tom and I love Slow Horses. Have you heard of Slow Horses?
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard of it.
It is amazing, and I didn't think that I would like it because there is a little bit of violence. It's definitely a thriller.
Is it actually a slow movie?
No.
Thank God. Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
It's a TV series.
Yeah.
Gary
I've seen it on
Oldman
Apple. I
is
really want to watch it.
Incredible in it. But it's the only thing that both he and I love. Like, we both genuinely love it together.
After you said Morning Wars, me and my wife been watching, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Morning Wars isn't that great. Season 1 is very good.
We're
Season 1
it.
is very good. But yeah, Slow Horses consistently, it's like 5 seasons of Slow Horses. Every season gets even better than the last.
Wow.
And we both love it as a couple movies can be hard. Like, you to find something that
when
you
you
both
find something
genuinely
that
enjoy.
bro, it's like your relationship is going to improve for that
Exactly.
like 3 months, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
the chemistry is so good.
Exactly.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy. When you find a TV show with your partner, that is the secret to marriage.
Exactly. Like, what, you watch the next episode without me? How dare you?
Yeah.
Stranger Things. Okay, I think Stranger Things is a great example of
Such a good show.
something that I would never ever be into horror in my entire life, but Stranger Things has cut the mustard for me. I'm just like,
something
cannot wait
about
until
it, right?
It's so scary, and I cover my eyes when that freaking
But
man
it's
comes
so
out.
weirdly like
but it's-
childishly nostalgic and innocent at the same time.
And the 80s theme is amazing.
Yeah.
I think the show's about the loss of innocence.
Yeah, okay. That's a whole nother episode. That sounds like
But like I think that's the value of that type of art.
It is such a great
Loss of
piece of art.
innocence.
Stranger Things is an amazing show. It
Oh,
is a work
I need
of
to get back
art.
it is,
into it.
yeah, yeah.
Stranger Things.
It is so good.
It is so good.
Everyone said it at the beginning, but I actually got into it a lot later.
Yeah.
So I only got into it like last year, and I was just like, "This is so good."
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
watching it while we were planning our wedding in 2019.
Bro. It
And
like
we just be like, we haven't planned anything. We're just watching Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
I've actually been stuck on season 3 for like the last 6 years.
Oh, really?
So I'm actually gonna get back into it. My dad actually binged all of it last year. He
Oh
loves
my
it.
God.
It's so good, bro. It's
we
so good.
we gotta actually wrap
Yeah.
up. So
Yeah. Sorry.
I might no,
Bring
this was a
it
great
on.
conversation. There's so much to dig into here, but I might just
Yeah.
wrap with this.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I think there is value to be gained from art that's a bit more on the surface questionable. I think that I think the best way to approach it as a Christian is to think like, what is in it, and is it going to trigger me in any certain way, and is it going to trigger a weaker someone who is more immature in the faith, and how do I even approach that? That's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I think if you can handle it, there's so much value. One of my favorite books is Clockwork Orange.
Oh,
Really dark, heavy
interesting.
book.
I would love to talk to you about that.
But it's really like not for everyone. I wouldn't recommend it for most people, but
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most interesting explorations of what makes a person good.
Oh, interesting.
And it has a lot of Christian themes in it as well. I think Anthony Burgess, who wrote it, was a Christian, because the whole idea is it your works that makes you good, or is your heart change?
Wow. I
It's-
couldn't stomach it, to be honest.
The book?
Yeah. Oh, the movie.
Oh, I haven't seen the movie. I just read
Okay.
the book, but the
Right,
book's
right.
discussed. Like there's there's one point where I almost stopped reading it, but I wanted to know why it was so critically regarded, why it was so well regarded, and I was glad I finished it. But yeah, again, would not recommend it for most people.
Yeah.
I think this is a topic that we have barely scratched the surface of. I was actually
Oh, yeah,
surprised.
yeah,
Went in a
yeah,
very
yeah.
different direction.
Yep.
So we may come back to this at some. We will come back to this at some point.
Yeah.
Soon or later, we don't know. But we will come back to this. But I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to Bridges of Belief. We'll catch you next time.